XRP targets 360. Folks, we're looking at making another run for a new all-time high for XRP. It's coming in here shortly, and I think that many people are going to get caught off guard. This consolidation through the summer slowdown of August, stagnant into September, and now we're starting to break out. A lot of people still in disbelief. Don't get caught off guard with this move that we know is coming. We got ETFs going live, additional crypto treasury companies, and institutional adoption really starting to show itself with BlackRock and others admitting that yes, we are going to tokenize all of the financial markets, which we're talking about hundreds of trillions and even quadrillions in payment flows. Remember, tokenization is just one step. Once you actually get the flows of liquidity, we're not just talking hundreds of trillions, we're talking quadrillions with a Q. So without further ado, we're going to get it to you here today. I appreciate you for stopping by. Let's get right on into it, folks. Check it out. So a lot of confusion on the Rex Osprey crypto ETFs, which I had originally thought this was a basket, but I guess these are all individual products. Crypto ETFs for Bitcoin, XRP, Doge, Bonk, and Trump. They have cleared the SEC's 75-day review window and are expected to begin trading Friday, according to Eric Balchunas. We're now getting reports that this has been delayed. James Seyfert giving us a thread on what these accounts are. These are 40 Act funds with a unique structure that do not go through the 19B4 process. So these are not the 33 Act. This all goes back to the Securities Act 1933 when the SEC was established, and then they started to create these structures. This type of fund here, the Rex Osprey funds, these are Act 40 funds, so they're slightly different. Okay, and they were expecting Doge to go live today. That's also been delayed. So it's looking like Doge, XRP, and others going to be going live next week. They say right here, seems more likely that the Doge product and the XRP products will be launching next week and not tomorrow, which this was posted yesterday. They are structured as C Corps. Interesting setup on these. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds, but here's what's important, guys. They will hold spot, just not for 100% of their holdings. Will be a combo of spot, and then they'll actually hold other spot ETFs too. So the fund's goal is almost all spot exposure, but the documents allow for flexibility to use derivatives as needed. So yes, these ETFs will hold the underlying asset XRP, and that's what we want to see because that's what drives supply shock for the asset, right? Nate Garassi here also noting what took place yesterday, which was a big deal. The DTCC listing Fidelity Solana ETF and the Canary XRP and HBAR ETFs doesn't mean anything from a regulatory standpoint as far as this is approved, but I think that we can still do 2 + 2 = 4, right? If the DTCC, which is the largest clearinghouse for securities in the world, if they're listing it on their platform, it's because they know it's going to go live. They don't waste time. They have direct connections to the SEC. They would not be wasting their time if they thought there was any chance that these would not get approved. They're only doing this because they know 100% these are going to get approved. Now, the HBAR might still take some time because we haven't seen futures at the CME for HBAR, unlike we have for Solana and XRP. So Solana, XRP, 100%. And then it's looking like we might get Bonk, Trump, and a few others as well, Dogecoin as well. And we talked about this. This is the big joke. How do you suppress XRP one final time? We're out of the lawsuit. We're going to get ETFs, but you kick us while we're down one more time by launching Bonk, Trump's, Doge. They're missing Fartcoin. Somebody better do Fartcoin real quick too and get that in there so that they can keep the masses distracted from XRP. But as Nate says here, it's all on the SEC. And so as soon as that SEC approves it, we will be going live. But the DTC listing it shows us that it's 100% inevitable. And that means that the inflows, we can speculate on how big they are going to be, but we know they're coming. Over 500 million in spot Bitcoin ETFs today. Nearly 2 billion so far in September. Noticeable recent uptick after a rough August. Now at 21 billion of inflows for the year. Folks, you guys have seen my multiplier. You guys have been tracking this. Hard data, no clickbait, no hopium, although it does give us a little bit of hope holding this asset, knowing that these inflows are coming our way. It's not just going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum. You'll be able to get Doge. You'll be able to get Bonk. You'll be able to get your Trump coin for those of you guys that want exposure there. But for those who understand what's really taking place, right, the plumbing of the new system, and you've heard clips being, circulating around Mike Novogratz, others, of folks that are acknowledging that the move is no longer just the store of value play for Bitcoin, and that Ethereum's not the only standalone smart contracts platform. And so they had the first movers advantage with their ETFs going live last year. I hope they enjoyed the party while it lasted, and they did. Bitcoin went to a new all-time high. Ethereum, I'm not going to make excuses for Ethereum and its terrible price performance. I mean, it's back up approaching an all-time high, but it still hasn't hit. Or I guess it officially hit a new all-time high, but not by much. So, not going to make excuses for Ethereum. But what I can tell you is that inflows in the billions of dollars are coming into the XRP ETFs. And what we've seen, the faster these inflows come in, the more dramatic our multiplier is. So this is where we can make significant jumps in XRP price that people are not expecting. Not the $3.60 that I'm, titling this video. XRP is targeting that short-term retail money without ETFs inflows, happening. And so, once again, back to the data. What are we seeing right now? We're seeing 500 million flew into Bitcoin spot ETFs yesterday. 2 billion so far in September. We're not even halfway through the month. And so, if this is any precursor to what's coming into XRP, you're looking at a double-digit XRP. It's just that simple. Nobody can refute that either. Nobody's been able to refute the multiplier. We acknowledge what's missing, what's not included in that equation. It's not fully encompassing of all market impact and all variables that impact the price of XRP, but nobody's been able to refute it. Nobody can, say anything other than personally attack me. They don't want to talk about the hard data. They don't want to talk about the inflows that we're seeing into the Bitcoin and the Ethereum inflows, the ETFs that we've already witnessed. They don't want to talk about the facts. They want to do personal attacks on me. Oh, he just wants to put out another clickbait video. I do want to make people aware of the situation. I am going to bait them into clicking into my content because I think that we provide a lot of value. We've already helped a lot of people change their lives investing in the cryptocurrency space. And yes, we're going to continue to do so. We will not relent. We will not back down. And either you're going to get on the right side of the transfer of wealth or you're not. And if you're trolling in the comments, I can probably take a bet on where you're at, where you line up. Now, once again, checklist, ETFs, check. Digital asset treasury companies, that's our second one. Take a look at it. Bill Morgan highlighting another company putting XRP on their balance sheet. Here's an extract from another filing with the SEC that's showing the trend of companies increasing holding digital assets on their balance sheet, including XRP. This company, Amber International Holdings, has increased the size of its holdings of crypto and has a portfolio of a dozen different cryptos, including XRP. Amber International Holdings announced that it has a crypto reserve plan of up to $100 million. It states that its reserve strategy will initially focus on high conviction digital assets such as BNB, Solana, SUI, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, with flexibility to expand into other ecosystems, aligned tokens, including allocating funds for stablecoins. What seems to be becoming more prevalent is that companies are holding a portfolio of digital assets and not just Bitcoin. Just as there are individual Bitcoin maxis who only invest in Bitcoin and think that everything else is a crap coin, there are companies like Strategy that only want to hold Bitcoin. There are other companies, as with individuals, with more sense that prefer holding a portfolio of digital assets. There are some of us that don't care to have any exposure to Bitcoin at all. I don't see a place for Bitcoin other than a hope and a prayer strategy that it's going to be a store of value, which is reliant on selling this narrative to somebody else, right? And once again, rooting for Bitcoin. I know probably hard to believe that after I make the comments that I make. Rooting for Bitcoin, rooting for Ethereum, rooting for Fartcoin, rooting for Trumpcoin, rooting for Dogecoin. But when it comes to plumbing the new financial system, there's a big difference between assets like XRP that already have institutional adoption, which is the third box that we want to check off. ETFs, digital asset treasury companies, and institutional adoption. My kids are all watching me record this video right now. That's the thing about family vacation. The work don't stop. We'll keep you guys updated the entire time. Now, here's where we're at. XRP price action, right? All this talk, all this. Zach, when is it going to move? Well, please sit down. Please lock yourself in and understand that we're going to see XRP move to a new all-time high before the ETFs go live. I'm talking about the spot ETFs going live in October. We're going to see a new all-time high for XRP before that. And then we very well are on our way to a double-digit XRP after the ETFs go live. Now, where's our next stop along the way? Well, take a look. Alley charts. 2 scenarios for XRP. Break 305 and surge to $3.60. Retrace to 280. Break 290 and surge to 360. Which one are you leaning towards? And let's take a look here at his structure on that chart right there. Okay, so either way you go, we're heading to 360. It's just, where we're going to get one more pullback into that 280 range one last time before they send it. Well, it's looking like that's not happening, as XRP broke up to 307 yesterday, closed off the day above 304, which was lovely to see. And then it hit 307 again last night, in the middle of the night. And as I noted right here, if we followed the July fractal, we would be at a $4 XRP by September 17th. Now, we still have a ways to catch up there if we're going to follow that fractal, but we have September 17th marked on the calendar. That's the next Fed interest rate decision next week. We have been anticipating a buy the rumor, sell the news rally leading up to this date. That is what is taking place right now. And this chart, I mean, it's looking really good here. Back up. And once again, if we go back to what Ali had to say right here, Ali charts, if we break 305, we're surging to 360. So that's exactly what we did right there, folks. It looks like we're done with the back test. I don't know if you'll see below $3 again. I'm not going to say that because it'll wick to $2.99 real quick, and then people will be beating me up in the comments down below. So let's just let this thing play out. 360 new all-time high before the ETFs go live. That's been my targets. $4 to $7 before the ETFs go live by October 17th. That's the timeline, the window of opportunity. The price targets, $4 to $7. That's your price range, your window of opportunity. I'm not going to give you investment advice, but I'll tell you right now that I have backed up the truck on XRP for 7+ years, knowing that this day was coming when it was finally going to be revealed for the masses what XRP was intended to do. And it wasn't intended to be a 25-cent asset. It wasn't intended to be a $2 or $3 asset. This asset's going a lot higher. I think $100 is inevitable, but you guys let me know in the comments down below, and we will be back with more content. Once again, watching these markets. Let's see how we can close off this week. Looks like the bullish momentum is back. I hope that you were paying attention. I hope that you were backing up the truck, because you might have missed your opportunity for under $3 XRP. If you appreciate our content, make sure you like it, share it out far and wide. Everything is available at zachrector.com, and I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much.